Hello and welcome to the Team Talk here on Hibs TV. It was the international break that will live long in the memory for everybody associated with the Scotland national team. Well done to Steve Clarke and Hibernian's very own Grant Hanley, who helped Scotland qualify for their first World Cup in 28 years. With that out of the way, it's back to domestic duties in the William Hill Premiership, with Hibs hosting Dundee this afternoon at Easter Road. The action begins at 3 o'clock today. Stay with us for all the pre-match build-up, interview and analysis ahead of kick-off. Yes, hello, welcome to the Team Talk here from Easter Road. Hibs take on Dundee later this afternoon. We've got plenty to get through on the show, and I'm delighted to be joined by none other than Hibs legend and 2016 Scottish Cup winner Liam Fontaine. Liam, first of all, nice to have you back on the Team Talk here. How are you?
I'm good, yeah. It's great to be back. It's always great for me to come back to this stadium, and obviously the time I had here and the fond memories I have. I like coming back, so it's great.
Yeah, it's great to have you back. It's been a while. What have you been up to over the last few months?
I've just been living life, family life and work away from here. Obviously the new stuff that I do away from football since I left, and just kind of enjoying life and gearing up towards obviously now Christmas now.
Yeah, definitely. And we touched on it just at the top of the show there. Obviously coming back in off the international break, and for everyone associated with Scotland, it was a massive night on Tuesday night. It was an amazing achievement. Did you watch the game on Tuesday? What did you make of it?
Yeah, I think, I mean, who didn't watch it? I think it was such a sort of spectacle that it was going to happen, and I sort of touched on it with you before. And I do think that's in football sometimes these sort of things are written before they've even occurred, and no matter what had happened that night, I just feel that Scotland as a nation were always going to go to that World Cup. And the boys in the night turn up, that Hampden magic feeling that they had, the goals that were scored. Like, obviously the performance, who cares really now?
Yeah.
Like, all that matters is that they're now on the plane to America, and I'm sure that there was a lot of very, very happy Scottish people.
Yeah, definitely, and a few big celebrations as well. Just obviously John McGinn played a huge part of the night. You would have played with him many times here at Easter Road, and obviously in the 2016 Scottish Cup final. Did you, as a player, know that he was kind of going to go on and have the career that he's had when you played with him?
I mean, yeah, I think as players and when you've sort of been in and around football as long as I had at that point, and you see a lot of players sort of come and go, and you can spot the sort of the ones that have got that chance, and they've got all the attributes there. And John, fair play to him. And I always, when people ask me about John, I always sort of say he's the type of person that I like in football. Where, I mean, he was doing well for us. He could have gone to like Celtic, but he's one of those players that wanted to push himself. He wanted to go and try playing at the next highest level, which is obviously going down to England. And I mean, obviously since he's gone down there, he's just gone from strength to strength, and he's changed his whole career, his whole life, and now he's what he is now as a player is incredible.
Yeah, definitely. And it was a positive international week, not only for Scotland but for Rocky as well. They got through to the final kind of playoff for the World Cup with DR Congo. Jamie McGrath was involved in the squad with Ireland, who had that dramatic win over Portugal, and then Hungary as well. I imagine these kind of results and coming back to the training ground just kind of installs a bit more kind of belief and positive energy around the training ground. Yeah,
I mean, obviously when you do have like successes and you do come back in from the international scene, I would imagine that there's a real buzz, especially like up here in Scotland. There's going to be a buzz about every single player there. And I'm sure that when you're within that sort of squad as well, and you see your teammates doing well at international level, and they're getting in, like say, to the playoffs now with Rocky and Jamie McGrath and that, and so having that sort of that bit away from domestic, it can, like, if they have sort of been sort of coasting along a little bit, or there's been like a little sort of chilled period, going away sometimes and then coming back and sort of reignite a nice little spark in you as a player and as a team.
Yeah, definitely. And staying on the topic of international football, one player here at Hibs who had a massive impact away with Scotland was Grant Hanley, and I caught up with him earlier this week at HTC. Grant, first of all, welcome back. It's been some week for you, helping Scotland qualify for the first World Cup in 28 years. How would you sum up the last 7 days?
Bit of a roller coaster, to be honest. obviously after a disappointing result in Greece, to learn that we'd been helped out elsewhere with a Belarus result, and then going into an absolute monster of a game on Tuesday night, and for me personally, if you're going for no starting the game to getting thrown at the last minute because of an injury, and obviously I don't really need to speak too much about the game itself. It was crazy, but to come out with the result we wanted and to qualify for a World Cup, it's just surreal, really, and difficult to put into words.
Yeah, you mentioned that you kind of got thrown in at the last minute because of the injury to John Suter. How much did you know about that, and was it just a case of the boots on, you're in from the start?
No, obviously you go through your normal sort of prep. Obviously, starting players and subs will warm up sort of differently. So it was right towards the end of the warm up, and it was I got the shout that obviously John was struggling and I was going to be playing. So just try and get myself to speed as quick as I could, and a couple of passes, a couple of sprints, a couple of headers, and good ready to go, really.
In terms of the achievement, where does that rank, helping Scotland qualify for the World Cup? Where does that rank in terms of your career?
No, I mean the game in itself and sort of the aftermath, and the way people speak to you, and how much congratulations and things like that we've had is it's certainly right up there. I think maybe one day when I finish playing, you can sit down and really really take stock and see where it ranks. But I think obviously as players now, it's sort of just on to the next thing, which is obviously club level first, and make sure we get that right, and then getting ready to go to a World Cup. And obviously the motivation there is to go and perform better and get further than we have done in the last couple of tournaments we've been to.
Yeah, definitely, and I imagine it's a massive incentive for some of the players. The international break scene, there could be a lot of Hibs players at the World Cup potentially, and also for Scotland, the likes of Kieran Bowie, Josh Mulligan have been involved in squads. I imagine it gives that a massive incentive going into the kind of next 6 months with the club.
No, I think so. I think all the lads that have been regulars in the squad, that'll be certainly a big motivation. All the lads that are sort of on the outskirts, and lads maybe even lads that haven't been involved at all, will be really pushing, and they've got that sort of goal in their mind to perform and play well at club level, and give themselves a chance of going to the World Cup.
Just finally then, Dundee at home at Easter Road on Saturday. What kind of challenge do you expect from them?
No, obviously it'll be a difficult game. They've picked up some big results this season. We know exactly what sort of game to expect. But I think we first of all we'll sort of be concentrating on ourselves and what we've done well recently. Obviously a good result before the international break. So especially at home, look to go and build on that.
Thanks, Grant. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Yes, that was Grant Hanley speaking to Hibs TV earlier this week. Liam, very calm and composed as always, Grant. He's been a rock at the back for Scotland and for Hibs since he joined in the summer. What have you made of his performances?
He has done probably exactly what I thought a player like that would do. He would come in very experienced, very, like you say, calm, cool head on his shoulders, and I mean, I think when you are a centre back and when you're in those positions, that's the type of like characteristics that you want that centre back to have, and that sort of leading like style that he'll have. And yeah, the performances he's had obviously since he came into the team, got settled, got playing, got his game like sharpness back up. Mm-hmm. He's been brilliant for the team, and he's probably settled down the other players around him, and that's the sign of a very, very good centre back and signing and stuff. Yeah,
definitely. And he touched upon it in that interview, but obviously he played the first game for Scotland against Greece, and then he was due to be on the bench against Denmark, but was called into the starting 11 at the last minute, almost like a couple of minutes before kick-off. How difficult is that as a centre back or a player in general? How difficult is that to deal with mentally, because you've kind of, you're thinking, I'm going to be on the bench for the majority of this game, but then suddenly in from the start in such a big game as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it comes down to the player at the time. I think as a professional, as a good pro, you would always, prepare for that, the chance that may happen. You maybe have a little bit of disappointment, because if you've played the previous game and then you don't know whether you're getting rested for a certain reason or whether you've just been dropped, and obviously he's had to go back in, but you saw the performance, and you can flip back into that mode very, very quickly, and when you're as experienced as that, I wouldn't imagine that he would have been phased too much, to be honest.
Yeah, and has it ever happened to you in your career?
Yeah, once. I was at Bristol City, and we were playing the playoff final at Wembley, and I weren't due to start, and the centre back that was playing ill through the night. So morning of the game, I got the call in saying I was going to be starting. I was 21 years old and starting at Wembley, and it was so obviously on a personal level it was like epic. So it has happened to me.
It's probably one that you've just got to take in your stride. A few of your former teammates, David Gray, walking past you there, very fond memories back in 2016. Just talking about going back to Hibs then. I imagine there'll be plenty of people, because obviously Grant's been in the squad for Scotland a lot, but likes of Josh Mulligan, Kieran Bowie as well. Surely that can only be a good thing for Hibs on the pitch here, wanting to impress the national team coach as well.
Definitely now. The fact that they're going to the World Cup, and these opportunities now for Josh and Bowie to, really stake a claim. I mean that squad there is doing well. But I mean, if you look at Josh, talk about Josh firstly. He's a very, very dynamic type of player, and you see the style of play, the sort of goals that he can produce and pop up with. Like I played with him at Dundee when he was sort of up and coming, and like I said, touching it with John, you can see when certain players have that something a little bit different, and he's one of them, and it's going to be down to him as a player and coaches around him to keep bringing out and developing him. And we touched on Bowie earlier about the attributes he has as a striker. I would class him as what I used to call like a classic number 9, willing to go up and against the centre back, the type of player that I used to love playing against, where you could like have a little
physical battle,
and you appreciated the physical battle. Do you know what I mean? When they came back at you, and he's got that in him, and he creates stuff for himself out of nothing. He's got no fear. So like I said, if he can kick on, get some goals, I mean, you never know. If you get strikers in form, you're going to want to take them to
a major tournament. Yeah, for sure. And the mood is certainly high in the camp here at Hibs, and part of that is due to the result before the international break, a commanding 3-0 win away in Paisley. Here's a reminder of how the action panned out in that one.
So a good start here with Boyle now. Whips it in, great ball! Big chance for Bowie as it gets away from him. And that's a big chance for St Mirren, and inside 5 minutes. There we go. It remains 1-0 to St Mirren. Well, that is... Oh no. No, it is offside. Steaming in, and here's the chance, and that's the opening goal this time! Josh Mulligan smashes it home! St Mirren give the ball away, and Hibs make them pay. 1-0. Loop crosses it. It's a dangerous one. It's a great save, but where's it going to go? Barlasa and Boyle. Can he keep it in play? He can. Tries for handball. Cadden dinks it into the back post. Another good chance. This is Phillips. Latched onto the touch. Powerful effort. Salinger looking to hold on to the lead, and Salinger had to deal with that one. Probably tells you the story. It comes through for Lundeloo on the turn, and Lundeloo equalises inside the first minute of the second half. It looks like it took a deflection, and this is going back again. It's offside. It will stay 1-0. And here's Nicky Cadden. Boyle is staying on. Looked like he was going to go off. It could come here for a second, and it does for Chris Cadden. Sumptuous finish into the side of the net again. To Mandron. Man drawn, Salinger pushes it away. And should be again for Salinger, takes it well. Nicky Cannon's got on the left hand side. Clegy and Bowie making the runs in. Oh, and Nicky Cadden, more on that cross. Bowie manages to keep it in play. It's Chris Cadden across, and there was no one there in a black shirt. Again, Nicky Cadden stands it up. He's going to come back for Chaiwa. It's deflected, and that's going to go in. The flag stays down, and it is Chaiwa celebrating. I wonder who the last touch came off, but that should be game, set and match in Paisley for Hibs. St Mirren 0, Hibernian 3. Just over 10 minutes left at the Smiza Stadium. Well, Chaiwa was always worth a hit, wasn't it?
Yes, it was a very impressive performance in Paisley. 3-0 it finished to the Hibs. Liam, how impressed were you with the result? Because St Mirren are a tough team to play against. It's a tough place to go, and the only team that we didn't beat last season. Yeah,
like I say, it's always a tough place to go. I always used to like going there though, because the pitch is always pretty decent. Like I say, it's a nice compact stadium, so it's a nice place to go and play football. But like I say, to go and get a result sometimes there is tough. But as you saw there, the performance there was very, very professional. The goals were very, very good, and you know, all in all, it was an outstanding away performance. And as you touched on previously, the away form has been brilliant, and hopefully now, like I say, we can start converting some of the results or the draws to wins here.
And 3 great goals, as you mentioned, and a clean sheet as well. You must be delighted. I know you're blowing a kiss to a few of your former colleagues. The gaffer must be delighted with that clean sheet, because it gives us something to build on for the back. And then, as we saw, the goals were fantastic as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously as a defender, clean sheets is your bread and butter. If you can just sort of set that platform out to go from, and when you've got the attacking threats that you have within this team, and as long as when you've got a solid base and you can sort of set the attackers free, and you know, look at the brothers on the wings, and that I think they're very, very pivotal and vital for the attacking play that happens here. And then, like we touched on before, Josh coming in with his goal as well, and you know, there's a lot of threats within this team. So like I said, if you can cut out the goals going in, I think we'll always score. Yeah,
definitely. And let's talk about Josh Mulligan then, because we touched about it a bit earlier, and so you played with him at Dundee. He's been a brilliant signing for us, and he's kind of almost hit the ground running and continued the form that he left Dundee in as well.
Yeah, like I said, he was one of these players that his size and power and like fitness levels at the age he was when he was at Dundee with me was there up there top sort of tier with the main sort of stay first team players. But then his attributes were there, and it's all about just trying to then draw out what you can see, trying to like enhance his confidence in his ability, and not like what you sort of find with younger players when they're first coming into first team environments is that they'll either sink or they'll excel.
Swim,
right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like, and it's one of them ones where as a first team player you want to see a youngster coming in and not having any fear and not scared to go and do what he's been doing to get him where he is now. And this is what, like you said, he's came from Dundee, which set him up in with the academy, set him up to where he got to initially. But then it's only inevitable that you're going to go on to a bigger club. Hibs for me is probably one of the best options that he could have got at that point, because it's a great club. The style of football that's here, you're always going to get, as you're seeing these goals go in, he's got sort of free rein to just go and express himself. They're not going to put the shackles on him here, and you can see when he's playing, he's playing now with like a confidence, and you're looking at him now as like expecting something from him. It's not just like a young boy, let's see what he's got. He's now in that sort of category of what can you do for us now?
Because he's been one of the mainstays in David Gray's team. He's played every game for us this season. 3 goals, a handful of assists as well. He's also a very versatile player because we've seen him at right back, we've seen him in the middle of the pitch.
Yep.
Where do you think he fits into the team best?
I think the middle of the pitch, to be honest, like with his like attributes, like you say, he's that for me. He's that sort of kind of the engine he's got on him. He's like a box to box. He can be a box to box midfielder, the type of like, you know, the sort of Lampard type where he's that timing of like
arriving late into the box.
If you look at the goal against Mirren, it's that arrival coming in, composed finish, but like you say, versatile though, in the sense that if need be, because of his attributes, because of his size, because of his probably footballing IQ now that's come on, he can do a job at certain other positions. And I mean, as a manager, if you've got players that you can sort of like pick out of one pot and put them somewhere else, it's a benefit for you. But yeah, me personally, I playing with him and seeing what he's doing, what he's producing, I would say the middle of the pitch, that sort of, you know, the 10, if we're talking like football terms, like the 10 or the 8 or all that sort of stuff. But no, I think put someone in there that if they're playing confident, the middle of the pitch is where you want someone.
Yeah, he's been brilliant for us this season. Right, time to take a short break now, but don't go anywhere. After the break, we'll hear from David Gray and we'll see some more highlights from this season. Back in a couple of minutes.
Shopping, working, and relaxing online can attract various digital threats. To improve your protection against them, just turn on NordVPN. This cybersecurity app will block web trackers and malware-infected sites. It will also encrypt your internet traffic without losing a smooth connection. Get NordVPN now. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
Hello, welcome back to the Team Talk here from Easter Road. Dundee are today's visitors. Before we get into more interviews and analysis, here's a reminder of the last time we faced Stephen Presley's side back in August.
And you get it clear, it lines for Keenan Bowie and he scores!
Brilliant, Kieran, what a finish, mate. Great ball, Liam.
Top the meters there, can he finish? He can, it's going to fall for Keenan Bowie and he has a second!
Yes, 2-1 it finished at Dens Park back on the opening day of the season. It seems like a long time ago now, Liam, but what have you made of Dundee this season?
I think sort of for me, Dundee, they're one of these teams where the fans expect them probably to do better than what they do sometimes, and for me, like the performances that it's just not, the consistency's not been there at the moment. And obviously the position in the table probably replicates that. As we said, they had the big results against obviously Celtic and Rangers, but ultimately their season will be, as we said, like defined by how they do around with the teams around them, and coming to places like this and trying to cause an upset. Yeah,
and a club that you know well, having played with them. Did you enjoy your time back there? And you talked about the expectancy from the fans. Did you feel that when you were a player over there?
Yeah, I mean, I loved my time there. We had some success. Obviously, we got the promotion up back to the Premier League when we played Kilmarnock away, and you know at that point, the fan and rightly so, the fans at all clubs, they want their teams to do well, and when you're in a position and you have a squad to do so, they have the right to expect from you, and you want that as players. You want that little bit of pressure, and you know they've got a good squad there, some good youth in that squad, some good experience in that squad as well, and you know they'll obviously be battling like every single manager is in the football to try and get that team to perform on a consistent basis.
Yeah, they've so far this season they've had very mixed fortunes. Won 4 games in all competitions, 2 in the league, but one of those was against Celtic. They got the draw as well away at Rangers. What do you expect from them today?
I think they'll come initially, and I think they'll be wary of Hibs and how we'll start, and like I said, that attacking prowess that Hibs hold. But you know, when you come to any away fixture, especially when you're like things have been going sort of against you, you want to just try and start solid, and you want to try and get a foot in the game, not concede early. And I mean, I don't know what the manager will be sort of setting out there, but you know, if I was in the team, you want to get that first sort of 5, 10, 15 minutes solid, figure out the game, who you're up against, and then you sort of just go from there, build from there.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Now it's time to get the pre-match thoughts from David Gray. He's been speaking to Adam Turlington earlier this week.
Dave, we're obviously coming into this weekend's game against Dundee off the back of the international break. How's the break been for everyone here at HTC?
It's been, obviously it's great going into that off the back of a big result, 3-0 away win at St Mirren was obviously really positive, so it makes yourself feel good about it. It gives you the opportunity as well for us. We had a bounce game during that period, so we got minutes into Joe Newell and Alassane Amani that haven't been out injured, so they got a good hour into them, and players that needed minutes as well got 90 minutes, so it was a good period for players. Some other ones that maybe needed a bit of a rest, we were able to freshen them up as well. So we've came through that period in a real good place. Added to that, the international players have all went away, and some of them have had unbelievable highs. And I think that can only benefit the group coming back. That everyone's came back in today. The group's trained today, and we're feeling in a good place. Looking forward to try and kick on now.
I was going to say, how does that help when you obviously firstly you have an emphatic victory in Paisley, then some players go away and they have jubilant success as well with their nations as well.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. You think about the obvious ones, Grant Hanley in Scotland, and we all know how important that is for the country, you know, for everybody involved, which is fantastic. Something that's never been done for 27 years, I think. So that's a fantastic achievement. Brilliant for everybody. Something to look forward to in the summer for once. You know, when you're looking at watching the World Cup and your home nation's going, or your nation's going to be there. But even like Ireland coming from nowhere to get the opportunity for a playoff. Brilliant for Jamie in Ireland. Rocky Bashiri 1 game away for a World Cup potential as well. So, and then all the other lads that qualify for the African Cup of Nations that comes up. You know, everyone can be feeling good about themselves international wise. I know there's a lot to look forward to and to play for now in the summer as well for some of these players there, and even some of the fringe players and younger Scottish players maybe looking at it thinking, can I get on that plane? It's a challenge to try and do that, but it's something that is going to happen now, so give yourself the best possible chance, and the best way to do that is by performing well for your team, and players will have an opportunity to try and do that tomorrow.
Absolutely. On to the game this weekend then. Dundee, obviously we played them on the opening day of the season, feels like a long time ago now, but how have they evolved since that opening game?
Yeah, they definitely have. They've added players. You know, I think that was, as you say, the first game of the season. It was something that was in amongst our European campaign as well. So I think both sides are in different places as well. We're looking at it from an opportunity at home to try and kickstart our home form. We want to really start getting 3 points at home off the back of a couple of good results recently. This point in the season, the second round, the fixtures, we want to try and get more points than we had in the first round, so that's the challenge for the players. But it'll be a difficult game, but one, the players should be feeling good about themselves, looking forward to being at home and off the back of a real positive break.
Yeah, you touched upon the home form there. Easter Road was a real fortress last season. Obviously that long unbeaten run, I think it was like 337 days, came to an end at the end of October, but I suppose the message to the players is to kickstart that again now.
It definitely is. It's a long time to go undefeated at home, and I think to have successful seasons domestically, your home form needs to be strong. I think this season we've maybe not quite had a points return we maybe want, but we've not lost games of football, as you've highlighted already. But the challenge now is to make sure that we, as you say, have a real strong home form. It'll be a difficult game tomorrow. Every game in this league is always difficult, but we want to try and start this next round of fixtures with 3 points at home tomorrow.
Just finally, then, you mentioned Alassane Mane and Joe Newell getting minutes under their belts. How are we in terms of team news other than those guys?
Yeah, well, they've obviously come closer, which is positive. Dylan Levitt's back training as well. We did pick up a few bumps and bruises on international travels. Miguel picked up a bit of a virus or a bit of food poisoning potentially. He's probably going to be out, I would think. We were going to give him every chance because he has recovered in terms of he's back in the country. He has tried a bit of a warm-up today, but he is a little bit weaker than you'd like at this stage, and we're not going to take a risk with Miguel. We'll make sure he's 100% before you put him back on the pitch. And there's another couple of bumps and bruises. Josh Campbell got a bit of an infection in his toe, so he's a bit of a doubt as well, but they're the only two that are really a doubt. Everybody else, I've got a healthy squad to pick from them.
Good luck this weekend.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yes, that was the pre-match thoughts from David Gray, who was speaking to Adam Tomlinson earlier this week. Liam, obviously a former teammate of yours, shared that 2016 Scottish Cup success. How impressed with David Gray have you been as a manager, and did you always kind of know he was going to go into coaching and management when you played with him?
I mean, coaching, yeah, and obviously the managerial part, if you're fortunate enough to get to that position, then for sure. He's worked with some great people in his playing career, so would have been able to take some really good insights from all those managers that he's worked with and coaches. But if you know Dave, he's got that sort of way about him, sort of personality. He's never flustered, sort of quietly confident with his approach to stuff, and he has his way and his standards. And obviously when he first finally got the managerial position, obviously after a few temporary in charges, I mean it didn't start well, obviously, for him, and his but you just knew, if you know Dave, that he would have just been doing the same thing week in, week out. He wouldn't have sort of recreated the wheel as what he was doing. He would have been demanding, he would have been wanting the best for the players and giving the players his best, and eventually it turned around and you saw where this club could go. And so I'm not surprised by how well he's done at all. He's definitely he's definitely a football man, a football guy, committed to this club and to his craft. Yeah, definitely, and often what he always says is internally is you never get too high when you win, you never get too low when you lose, and you can very much see that in terms of the way that he carries himself and deals with himself. He touched upon it in that interview there about the home form and how he would like to almost see that improve. And it's not been awful, but there's probably been a few games here at Easter Road this season where he'd like to turn those draws into wins, because that was such a big part of our success last season. Yeah, I think I think as you touched on, last season here, it was a fortress, and the message that you do get when you are in squads is that you want to make your home stadium your fortress, and it can be frustrating when, like I said, it's not a terrible home form, but when you are as such a threat as Hibs can be, and you're getting yourself up in games, and you want that bit where you should be able to just put the nail in the coffin earlier in games, and not have to worry or have that that sort of, you know, the one in the back of the mind.
Yeah.
Are we going to concede late? Or
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? And so I do think it's still early on in the season.
Yeah,
Still,
yeah.
really, what are we 12, 13 games
Yeah,
in,
yeah.
and so I kind of feel like there's time for it to shift. And you know, once that does go, I mean, just sitting in third in the league, sitting there, and you just don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah, definitely. And how do you see this one panning out then? Do you see it as a home win, or if I was going to press you for a score prediction, what would you say?
Yeah, I think Hibs will win. And you want a score?
Yeah, I want one.
You want one, all right. I'm going to go with a 3-0.
Okay, right. Liam is saying 3-0 Hibs. Let us know on X what your score predictions are for today's game. I'm afraid that is all we've got time for. Liam, thank you very much for joining us. Great to have you with us as always. Now time to pass over to our commentary team led by Cliff Pike. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all very soon. Enjoy the game.